All right, today we are going to dig in deeper into After Effects and create something simple. It's going to look like this when we're done. And again, a very, very basic video that we're going to produce today. So let me show you what it looks like as I produce it. So when I'm producing it, this is what it looks like. We have the 4 text layers there. We have a camera, which we'll talk about in a moment, and then something called a null. And what a null is it's something that's there but invisible, and it allows you to control other things. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But you can see here that in After Effects, I have my graphics staggered to come in. I have the camera on and locked, and I'll explain that in just a moment. And then I have these keyframes for the position of the null. Now, one of the things that you'll notice different about this is that you're used to seeing the setup like this with one view. This has 2 views. And the reason is you need to be able to see what your camera sees as well as an overlay here. And what that looks like is, oh, wrong box. And you see if I click on a layer, it will see how right here, let's zoom in a little bit, 3% is a little aggressive there, white. So if I click on the layer, you see that it highlights it, and this is just, and if you were looking down on the video. So what happens is, with this, you will see, so here's the null, and the camera is attached to the null. And I'll explain that in a minute when we go through the setup, but you'll see that the null actually moves to forward, okay? And that's how we get the different images. So let's go back to the beginning and start with nothing. So I'm gonna set it up as though you would see it when you first come in. You would not have all of these things. I'm working on some stuff for volleyball at the same time. So let's get rid of that. Now, composition, new composition. Again, want to go 1080 by 1080, so it's something we can use for our social media when you're done with it. And then duration is 10 seconds. Click OK. Nothing now is any different than you've seen before. We're going to use the text tool and do, lady, come on computer, dogs. All right, I'm going to center that up and do some stuff to make it look better in terms of spacing, etc. I'm going to pull that down. All right. So pull that up now and make it a little bit larger. I want it to kind of fall in underneath. So there's that. All right. And then we're going to duplicate that, which is Command D. Turn that bottom one off. Let's get volley, ball. We're going to make this larger. Create some space below. And then move it up a little bit. And then we're going to scale it down just a little so it fills the screen. All right. And then Command D to duplicate that. And you could go in and redo your graphics all you wanted. I just do Command D because it's easier. And I don't have to take my hand off the keyboard. So there's that. And Command D. Tonight, 5:30 p.m. All right. So now I have these 4 graphics. So this is the first thing that is new. Obviously, you haven't created text or a lot of text in After Effects yet. This is what's called kinetic typography. Kinetic means to move. Typography obviously is type. So what we're going to do now, see this little cube here? We're going to turn these boxes on. And what that does is that makes the shapes 3-dimensional, not like what you're thinking where you have height, width, and depth on the shape, but the position of the shape. And this is where this project gets interesting, is because you're used to your computer being up and down and side to side. Well, now we're going to go into depth. And that's confusing sometimes, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So what I'm going to do now is, you see you have this thing right here called one view. I'm going to change it to 2 view horizontal. And what that does is that gives me, again, the front facing view as well as the over the top view. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to hit Command A and select all, and then hit P for position. I'm going to leave Lady Dogs at 0, and I'm going to put volleyball at 1500, and I'm going to put Elite 8 at 3000, and then you can kind of see a pattern here, 4500. And okay, so we have the 4 layers, and if you look here, let me change the color so you can kind of see the difference here in the different layers. So if I pull here, you see this is Lady Dogs, and this green line here is volleyball, and then that is Elite 8, and then that is 530. So you can see that those are all different, and they're deeper in the camera or in the computer's view. So this would be like if you were looking down on top. These are 1500 pixels apart. Okay, so we got those set. Now we're going to move our playhead up here, and that doesn't matter right now. It's just a thing that I do. I'm going to go to Layer, New, Camera. We're going to make this 50 millimeters. Make sure it's 50 millimeters, and click OK. So now you see this triangle here, and you see Lady Dogs. And what I'm going to do is show you what it kind of looks like. So now, just like with a video camera, if you push through, it's going to go through.